The Seekers table F's around and finds out in the latest Critical Role, Brandon Sanderson breaks crowdfunding records with another Cosmere project, and the Legend of Vox Machina Season 4 finally gets a release date.
It's about damn time!
Before we dive into some serious consequences in the latest Critical Role and more Brandon Sanderson crowdfunding records, why not take a second to hit those like and subscribe buttons? It's fast, it's free, and it really helps us keep these videos coming. And then, let's dive into the news. Brandon Sanderson is no stranger to crowdfunding records, as his Cosmere projects hold the record for the biggest TTRPG project ever to launch on Kickstarter, with this Cosmere RPG raking in over $15 million, and his 4 Secret Books Kickstarter holding the record for the biggest project ever, with over $41 million raised for several years. In fact, Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere projects have raised over $85 million on crowdfunding sites so far, and now, his new Hoid's Storybook Collection, which he launched just 2 days ago, is already adding over $7 million to that total as well, and looks to be the project that could push the Cosmere to over $100 million raised on crowdfunders. The character of Hoid is found in many of Sanderson's Cosmere books, as kind of an immortal storyteller with the power to jump between worlds, and this new backer kit brings beautifully illustrated versions of Hoid's stories to life, in 4 new books designed for readers of all ages. These stories include fan favorites like Wonder Sail and The Girl Who Looked Up, which are aimed at those fully grown Cosmere fans, as well as finally bringing a fully illustrated version of The Chasm Friends Get a Pet and The Dog and the Dragon to the younger readers out there. There's also an option to get a special version of the upcoming The Fires of December novel with printed edges, along with a lot of other cool backer kit bonuses. So with over $7 million raised in just 2 days and 21 days left to go, Sanderson is well on his way to another record-breaking crowdfunding campaign.
So, if you would like to get a copy of this, well, you can go check out the crowdfunding page.
In the latest Critical Role, a series of potentially bad choices finally caught up with the Seekers, who technically should have had at least one fatality after deciding to push ahead injured and with depleted resources and running smack into the part celestial abomination that is Tertia Ticonis, as we and many fans predicted last week. In fact, technically speaking, Velis should be dead. She failed 2 death saving throws, but Ashley and Brennan both seem to have forgotten she already had 1 failed death saving throw marked from her use of desperate measures in the combat before Tertia, which they had not had a long or even a short rest from since. Even with Ashley basically cheating death, Brennan was rolling terribly and at one point said out loud that the party should be dead if he could only stop rolling those 4s and 5s. But even with his awful rolls, Velis and Julian both went down, and the party was really only saved by Brennan doing some extreme rule of cool rule bending for Octus to somehow use Cause Fear as a charm spell on the abomination. But although the party did barely survive this encounter, we also saw them truly fracture as a unit, with Taisha's comments and anger towards Octus becoming so over the top and out of place that it devolved into a shouting match between the two, and somehow Taisha has gone from being the person most concerned with the safety of the young Ticonis and even helping make the ritual to bring him back to semi-life, to acting as if she flat out hates him in a way that has left many Critical Role fans in the chat and on Reddit deeply confused by her actions and her attitude lately. And in the end, the Seekers, badly battered and with their personal bonds in tatters, decided to head back to Dol Makyar, which also seemed like a shocking decision from Julian, who knows an army was sent to the Golden Orchard where Lady Aranessa is heading, with basically 3 random NPCs to guard her. But apparently they just decided it was more important to meet back up with the other tables in Dol Makyar. We also discovered that Thiazi Fang may have been looking to die, which explains why he never crushed that fake teleportation rune, as the falcon he saw may have been a druid named Mara who can freely traverse the underworld to help guide souls. So perhaps Thiazi decided after seeing the falcon that his plans, which given the series of artifacts he stole, may have included turning himself into some kind of celestial, had to change and involved a trip to the afterlife with the druid to guide him. But all said and done, the Seekers will return to Dol Makyar in the cold open of the next episode, where we fully expect these deeply conflicted and divided party members to go their separate ways. So don't be shocked if we get a major table reshuffle after the Schemers arc winds up sometime in the next 2 months.
Wait, you mean you're saying goodbye?
And finally, some great news and some bad news for the Legend of Vox Machina fans, as we got a new teaser and a release date for the long-awaited Season 4 of the series, which we know will feature Taryon Darrington, and a major time jump as the action picks up a year after the Chroma Conclave arc. The bad news is, the upcoming 5th season will be the final one for the animated series, but that does mean we're finally getting to the Vecna arc in this 4th season, which is a massive fan favorite. Although, of course, given Critical Role's creative control on the series, Vecna is now going fully by the name of the Whispered One so far, to avoid D&D IP. The episodes will drop weekly in batches of 3, and we can't wait to see how they handle this rebranded version of Vecna, and how Wayne Brady's Taryon Darrington fits in with the group when they return to Prime Video starting on June 3rd. So that's all the stories we have time for this week. Let us know what your favorite story was down in the comment section, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons.